let me go get my bow. You're looking at about arm's length, slight bow in it. I used to use paracord, you can use bank line, whatever you got handy. And I like to work it until I see smoke. I think you got a good burning. Okay. Now, put that on. Make sure you don't put that on the wet ground. We're going to do our notch. What I'd like to do is come in on both sides, like so, and just work toward the middle in a V. I want to go just inside the circle. A lot of people use a saw for this, which is very handy. But I'm out here testing out a prototype knife. See, we're just inside the circle there. Maybe an eighth of a way through. And on the back side, on this side, I kind of cut in at an angle. Like so. See there? Alright, now hopefully we can get a coal here. Let me get a leaf. There's many of them to choose from, but I want a special leaf. See if we can get that one. Alright. Now, all this burnt area here, I want to cut all that away. Get some fresh wood here. Because I want to get some good sawdust. Okay. All right. We'll start slow. Remember, you want to fill that notch up with dust first. Starting to see smoke. Just keep going. That's when you want to speed up a little bit. Slide down pressure. Okay. Very carefully. Yeah. Still smoking a little bit, but not like I want it to. So let's not disturb that. Let's try to add to it. Okay. Yeah. Let's try it again. Wood maybe. No. I'm gonna go get that other bow drill set and see if that works. Okay. See, this is the other one. This is the first one I made this morning, or today. I started this after lunch. And first deal, got a good coal. Now, the thing about it is, things always work when you don't have a camera on. I'm going to use the same holes, same original spindle. This is this set. Clean this up a little bit. Okay. Yeah, we got coal. See, that's the difference. Same wood pile, everything. But that is just how this works. All right. See if I can transfer this. Mow this grass. There. That's fire. It's the difference between two sets, same species, maybe the same log, I'm not sure. But that's it. Alright, well, I mean, that just kills my knees and back to do that. So I don't do it very often. But it's a skill that, skills are like anything else. If you don't use them very often, they deteriorate. So you have to go out and you have to practice these things and see. And I didn't get it on the first few tries. Well, I did, but the camera wasn't on. But the one that I started with on the camera, you don't always get it the first few tries. You just got to keep trying. And maybe it's the wood, I don't know. Maybe my notches weren't just right, I don't know. But I'll get them too, and let me look at them together. It doesn't mean it's your technique, it means it may be the wood that you're using. But this is red oak, and I've seen hickory being used. I've seen bow drills being used on just about everything that you can imagine, as long as it's dry. It has to be dry. Starting fire with anything has to be dry. Now you see, like I mentioned in the video, people throwing these things in water tubs and all this other stuff, which if you start out with wet wood, it takes a while to soak all the way through the wood. So, you know, I kind of take that with a grain of salt. It has to be dry to get a coal. So if it's wet when you start out, it's going to take a lot of work to dry it out as you're using the bow drill. So it's got to be dry to get a coal. Alright, so anyway, that was a test. Just out here playing in the backyard really, and practicing on some skills and seeing how things work, and trying a little different knife. I don't know when this video is going to be uploaded. I don't want to release this knife yet. It's still in the R&D phase, so I don't know when it's going to be uploaded. But anyway, I didn't like the way the tip drilled the hole, so I went out in the shop and I kind of dropped this point down a little bit, made it more of a center line tip, and it actually improved it quite a bit. That's the purpose of R&D, is to figure out those little details on a knife. If you don't have adequate research and development and you just take a design because you like it, throw it out there on the market, it may look cool, but is it going to work? That's the main thing. See how much faster it was doing that divot? And it's still a very strong tip. Actually, I think this made it stronger. See how it's narrowed down there towards a fine tip, but yet it's still strong. See if you can't find a baton that drop down on that blade right there, you can still get down to the dry stuff. And this is 3/16 blade. You can still do those fine curls like so. With a 90-degree spine, with the Fero rods, scrape the bark, scrape you some fluff right there. See how that'll take a spark. Let me go get a ferro rod and I'll show you how well it'll take a spark. Just like that. And get the larger ones going. The wind blowing out. There they go. Now that gets the sustained fire going. There. That's the general idea of the knife. Bow drill divot works. These, I'm not so sure. I want to do some carving to see if that's not going to cause some blisters, those hollow pins. You see hollow pins a lot on survival knives, and that's what this is. It's a prototype of what I think a survival knife is. I am of the firm belief that, I mean, survival is way overused. I don't like the term survival, but I think we're stuck with it. So, for lack of a better term, this is going to be a survival model. Okay. So, what I'm looking at is I'm looking at a blade that's going to be thick, so that it has some wedging property, so it'll go through some material and baton very well. So it'll wedge in there and split that stuff apart. So it's 3/16 of an inch thick. But I want to keep it as light as possible because, in my experience, tools that are heavy gets left in the truck, they get left at home, they're not carried. But if you can design a knife that has good balance, such as this one, see the balance is right there. I mean, it's just right there at the blade and the handle. So once you get it up here in this position, then it doesn't feel heavy at all. It feels like a very small carving knife. Has a ramp here for your thumb for support. Now, all the knife police says you don't put your thumb up there. You can't do that. That's not how to properly use a knife. Well, I'm here to tell you that you hold a knife any way you want to that feels comfortable. Okay? Don't listen to all them people out there that so-called experts. The safest knife is the one that you control. And the closer your hand is to where you're carving, or your thumb, or whatever it is supporting that, the better control you have. If you try to use your wrist, your wrist is not as strong as it is if you have that thumb up there. That blade is locked in. It's not moving. So use that thumb. Alright? Don't listen to all these other people out here that don't know what they're talking about. Alright, so I've got the thumb ramp there, and then also you can scrape rounded edges with it. Get some fluff, scrape those big ferro rods. So you know, that rounded part there comes in handy on a lot of things. Rounding off arrowheads and a lot of things. Let me get in a chair. My back is killing me. You young folks out there, take care of your back, folks. I worked hard all my life and just went out there to bowed up and got after it. Working is not always the best thing to do. Sometimes you got to relax. Money's not everything. Alright. So, anyway, so that's what that ramp there is for. It also brings the spine up to where you got something to beat on. Alright. It picks it up above the handle, so as you're beating on that, it's less vibration. It just creates a stronger spine on the knife. Imagine if I had straightened that out. how that would look. That would be less steel. Alright? Less steel means less strength. More steel, stronger it is. Alright? And that's physics, folks. That's not William, that's physics. So that's the reason the blade is kind of shaped the way it is. And it also, you can get your hand, that heel of your hand in there, and I mean it just kind of locks in. You don't need fullers or holes or whatever on the blade to hold it. You can choke up on there, and there's plenty of width on that blade to hold the blade, do that fine carving or whatever you need to do. Now let's go to the grind. To me, the grind makes a knife. If it's got a poor grind, it doesn't matter how it looks or how it's shaped, it's not going to be something you're going to use. Now this grind, I think that a lot of times the primary grind, which is the first grind, before we even talk about edges, the first grind is the key to how well the knife is going to be, or what it's going to be used for. Let's put it that way. Because, I mean, every knife, shape, form, or fashion has some good points and bad points. So I'm trying to combine a lot of those good points into one design to make it better at a lot more things. That's what I try to do. Alright. I think a saber is the best general purpose grind out there. Alright. I think if it is done right, you can take a saber that has strength, it has the geometry to be a finesse carver, it has the potential of being a great butchering knife. It just has the best potential for the most options, in my opinion. So I put a very high saber on this knife. Now the difference is the apex right here, where that secondary grind comes in, the edge that you sharpen, that's a secondary grind. The thickness of the blade dictates how well that knife is going to do at different tasks. The thinner the blade is, the better it's going to slice, the better it's going to do feathers. You can lay the knife down and you can do that fine feathers with it. Okay, so if you look, this cutting edge here will tell you where the thin apex is. This angle here, the sharpening angle, the angle you sharpen, is the same angle. It's the 11 to 12 degree angle. But if you pay attention, right here, it looks shorter than here. And the reason for that is this apex is thicker here for more strength, better batoning, better prying, better drilling. Okay, so it's thicker in this portion and thinner here for better carving. Okay, so that's the reason the edge kind of looks funny. It's only one edge to sharpen. I'll pull out my little, see, always in my pocket. And the easiest way I found to use these things is don't use them like a butcher steel, because you don't have any control. You gotta have control. Just lay it in your hand like you would any sharpening stone. Find that angle and just run it all the way through. Alright? That's all you gotta do. You can do it with stones as well, narrow stones, 3/4 of an inch or so, just as easily. So sharpening the knife is nothing to it. That is sharpening the knife. That's sharp. Alright? That is very sharp. You hear it cutting. Got razor burn now. Alright. So that's the purpose of this. And I thin the tip out so that, again, you have a piercing point. A very thin point, but it still is strong. And it is still strong enough to do those bow rivets. You saw me split the wood with it. Use it as a stabber. Sometimes in survival you may have to stab an animal. It may be a defensive weapon at some point. So, and I also went back in the shop after using it and I lined that point up a little bit more in the center. So I think that's going to be better. Still got to get it out there and try it out some more. I've got other people that is using this knife as well. And this video, ain't no telling when it's going to be released, but I'm making it now as a go, as a historical record. And I'm actually going to upload this on my YouTube channel. and I'm going to make it known to the ones that's actually trying out other versions of this, and let them see where I'm at on my evaluations of it, so that they can test out their versions of it and see how well that's going. But so far, I like the bow drill divot. It works great. The tip now works a lot better. I like it better. The grind on this is exceptional. I am very pleased with how thick this is. You saw me split that red oak, and it's a little twisted. It's not straight grained. So if it can split that, it can split just about anything, you know, within reason. You don't want something with a lot of knots in it. You wouldn't even want to mess with that anyway. But I like this rounded ramp there. Kind of locks your thumb in your hand, keeps your hand from sliding up on the blade. Again, the standard handle, my handles, Coke bottles, one position. Got the little lanyard here. Get out there and wail on it. Standard position. Get up here and choke on it. Do that finesse whittling, carving, cutting. Has plenty of grip there. That's the reason I like handles that's got contours, is I can grab it up here with these fingers and have complete control of that blade. Plenty of grip out there. Zip, right up them animals. Skin gone, belly cavity open. No gut punchers. Alright, and that heel of that hand just locks right in on that. So now I gotta sit down and do a lot of carving to see how all those holes there are gonna work. I don't feel any blisters or hot spots, but you can feel them, and that kind of concerns me a little bit. So I want to test that out and see how that works. And two, I mean, I'm not a big fan of tying your knife to a stick. You don't want to use it as a spear, period. I mean, you don't want to throw it. But if you wanted to reach out there and touch something, if you're in an area that's got some animals that you're a little concerned about, then maybe tying it to a stick to get a little bit more reach is a good option. I'm not sure. Still, at that point, I want my primary tool in my hand or on my hip. I don't want it out somewhere tied to something. But that's me. All right. So I'm not sold on the tie-off points there yet. But anyway, we're gonna test them out and see if there's any hot spots. And I'll see if I can't tie it to a stick and see if that's a viable option there too. So anyway, but so far playing with it in the backyard, I know it's an exceptional camp knife already. But we're going for survival. We want to pry some things apart. We want to get into some trees that is that's slightly deteriorated, got some bugs in it. We need some fish bait. Get in there and tear them apart. That's what this knife's designed to do. Get in there and not necessarily stand on it, but I mean you want to do some prying with it. You want to see how well it's going to hold up some abuse. All right. So me and the other fellers are going to do that. Stick with us. Appreciate you guys for joining me on this one, and practice your skills in the backyard. I'm just about behind the shop, really. That's the backyard. So be sure and take a child with you if you get the opportunity, and don't forget those band-aids and lots of knives. We'll catch you again soon. Bye.